Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to show you how to crochet these sleeveless gloves. For this tutorial, you're going to need category 4 yarn or whatever category yarn you prefer, and a hook. For this tutorial, I used a 5.5mm crochet hook and category 4 yarn in this purple color. You will also need a darning needle and some scissors, and that's all you're going to be needing for today, and let's go ahead and begin. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start off with the chain. This chain length is going to be the length of your sleeveless glove. So for me, I'm going to make the chain length as long as the middle of my fingers to maybe about right here above my wrist. But you can make the chain length however long or short you prefer, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to grab my yarn, and I'm going to go ahead and make a slip knot. And you want to make sure to leave a little tail at the end just so it's easier to weave in. And we're going to grab our hook. Again, I'm using a 5.5mm crochet hook, but if you have a different hook size, you can use that one as well. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with a chain. For me, my chain length is going to be 30, so that's what I'm going to do, but again, your chain length could differ depending on how long or short you want your glove to be. So go ahead and make your chains, and I will go ahead and meet you when I'm done. And I'm back, and I have a chain length of 30, and after you have your chain length, we're going to go ahead and chain 2 more. So I'm going to go from 30 to 32. So go ahead and do 2 more chains, and now we're going to start with our first official row of stitches, and the stitch that we're going to be using today is a half double crochet. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip the 2 chains that we just made, and we're going to work into the third one, and into the third one we're going to do a half double crochet. So yarn over, you have 2 loops on your hook, you're going to take your hook and insert it into the third chain. Go ahead and insert your hook into the chain, grab yarn and pull up. You have 3 loops on your hook, and you're going to grab yarn and pull through all 3. And there you have a half double crochet. And that's what we're going to be doing for the entirety of this row. We're going to insert our hook into the chain, grab yarn, pull up. You should have 3 loops on your hook, grab yarn and pull through. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, grab yarn, pull up. You have 3 loops on your hook, grab yarn and pull through 2. And I prefer working into the back bumps of the chain, just so at the end when we stitch both sides together to get our glove, it's going to be easier to stitch into, but it is not necessary. You can work this way however you'd like. So go ahead and do your half double crochets for the rest of the chains, and I will go ahead and meet you when I'm done. Feel free to pause the video. Okay, I'm almost done with the first row of half double crochet stitches. I just have 2 more to do. And once you finish your last half double crochet, we're going to finish off by chaining 2. So chain 1 and chain 2. And now we're going to turn our work around. And we will be working half double crochets throughout the rest of the project, and I'm going to show you how to do row number 2. So for row 2, we're going to skip the 2 chains that we made, and we're going to work into the very first half double crochet stitch. So again, skip the 2 chains, and we're going to work into the first official stitch, which is the 3rd stitch from your hook. So 1, 2 chain, and then this is your stitch. But we're not going to be working into the entire stitch. Instead, we're only going to be working into the back loops only. So we're going to do back loop half double crochets throughout the rest of the rows. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to insert our hook into the back loop only, and then we're going to grab yarn. As we do, we have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to grab yarn and pull through all 3. There's your first back loop half double crochet. Moving on to the next one, again, yarn over. We're going to work into the back loop only, so insert your hook into the back loop, like so. Grab yarn, pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook, grab yarn and pull through all 3. I'm going to show you one more time. We're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop only, grab yarn, pull through. We have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to grab yarn and pull through all 3. Continue doing back loop half double crochets for the rest of the row, and I will go ahead and meet you when I'm done. Feel free to pause the video. Okay, I'm almost done with the second row of back loop half double crochets. I just have 2 more to do. So again, just working into the back loops only. And this is my last one of the row. And I'm going to go ahead and finish off again with a chain 2. And then we're going to turn our work, and now we're moving on to round 3. For round 3, we're going to do exactly the same thing as round 2. So skip the 2 chains, and we're going to work into the first official stitch of the row. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to work into, again, the back loop only. So we have yarned over, we're going to insert our hook into the back loop only. We're going to grab yarn, pull through, 3 loops on our hook, grab yarn, pull through all 3. Again, yarn over, into the back loop only, we're going to put our hook through, grab yarn, pull up, we have 3 loops on our hook, grab yarn and pull through all 3. One more time, yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop only, grab yarn, pull up, we have 3 loops on our hook, grab yarn, pull through all 3. Go ahead and do these back loop half double crochets, and I will meet you when I am done. Okay, I'm almost done with my third round. I'm going to finish off with my last back loop half double crochet, and again we're going to finish off with a chain of 2. And then we're going to turn our work around, and we're going to repeat the same thing again. So yarn over, insert your hook into the back loop only of the first official stitch, pull through, grab yarn, pull through all 3. Again, another back loop half double crochet, and we're just going to keep repeating that over and over again. At the end of every round, we're going to chain 2 and repeat until we have the length that we need. And the length is going to be the entire around your arm. So we're just going to repeat it over and over again all the way around until it fits comfortably around your hand, like so. And when we get back, I'm going to show you how to do the last little thing. But again, we're just going to go ahead and do back loop half double crochets until we get to the end of every row, chain 2, turn our work, do more back loop half double crochets over and over again until we get to the end. And as you can see, we have this little ribbed pattern, and it's going to be stretchy, so make sure you keep that in mind when you make your length. But I am going to stop right here. Feel free to pause the video, make as many rows as you need, and I will go ahead and come back when I have the length that I need. Okay, I am almost done with all of my rows. I'm just going to go ahead and finish off my last one. And I'm going to finish off with a chain 1 instead of a chain 2. So this is what I have so far. These are my rows. I have a total of 17 for this one. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we are going to stitch both sides together to make the glove. So again, we just chained 1 instead of 2. We finished off with a chain 1. And now we're going to go ahead and bring both sides of our work together. So we've been working this way. We're going to flip it this way. And we're going to bring both sides together. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and work slip stitches to stitch both sides together. Before we begin, I do want to say that at one point in our slip stitching, we're going to stop to make the thumb hole, so make sure not to stitch all the way through. So let's go ahead and begin. Again, we finished off with a chain 1, and now we're going to insert our hook into the first official stitch of this row. So the last row that we did. We're going to take our hook, insert it into that stitch, like so. And then we're going to find the first stitch on the opposite side, and we're going to bring our hook through there, like so. And then we are going to go ahead and grab yarn and pull through both. And then we're going to go ahead and take that same yarn that we pulled through, and we're going to pull it through the first stitch that was on, or the first loop that was on our hook, like so. So basically a slip stitch. I'm going to show you a couple more times. Insert your hook into the next available stitch that you have on this side, and then find the next available stitch that you have on the opposite side. And then we're going to grab yarn, pull through both sides, and that same yarn we're going to pull through the first loop that was on our hook. Okay, and we're basically going to slip stitch both sides together. If you want, you could just finish off with your chain one and then cut a long strand of yarn and then use a sewing needle to sew it together if that works best for you. But I didn't want to cut my yarn and then get my sewing needle right now, and I just think it's better to continue off my working, at least for now. But if you prefer sewing, then that's completely fine. You can do it that way. But again, we're just going to go ahead and slip stitch until we get to where our thumb hole is going to be. And for everyone, that's going to be different because everyone probably has a different stitch count. For me, I had 30 because I started with 30 stitches, or 30 chains, plus the 2 extra chains that I made. So just go ahead and slip stitch both sides together until you get to the beginning of where your thumb hole is going to be. So just continue doing this and I will meet you when I'm done. Okay, so this is what I have so far, and I'm going to stop here because this is where I want my hole to begin. And if you're unsure, you can always just loosen up your yarn and put your hand in your work and then figure out where you want the end of your work to be. So for me, I want the end of my work to be around here, like around the middle of my fingers, and so I'm going to want the hole to start right here, and I'm going to want it to end around there. So when you have this, you can go ahead and count how many stitches you have on either side, and that's going to be the length of your hole and how many stitches you are going to skip. So I'm going to show you a little closer. So this is what we have so far. We ended off right here, and now we're going to figure out how many stitches we're going to skip before we continue sewing on the rest of the sleeveless glove. And for that, you're just going to want to go ahead and put the ends of the work together, and we're going to go ahead and just pinch at where we want the hole to end, and then we're going to count how many stitches we have here and here. And you want to make sure that you have an even amount on both sides, because you don't want to skip like 5 stitches here but then end up skipping 7 here because the pinch is uneven, because then you're going to finish off really funky. So go ahead and count, make sure that you have the same amount of stitches that you're skipping and the same amount left that you have for sewing. For this, I'm going to go ahead and skip 6 stitches from here, and that's going to leave me with 6 stitches left up here. So go ahead and figure that out for yourself. Everyone's going to have a different number unless you have the same stitch starting as me. But now we're going to go ahead and continue. Okay, now we're moving back on to stitching, and again we stopped right before our hole begins. So what we're going to do now is, instead of stitching both sides together, we're only going to be focusing on slip stitching one side, the side closest to you. So we're not going to stitch it together like we've been doing, we're only going to stitch one side. So we're going to go ahead and find the next available stitch on the side of our work closest to us, and we're going to insert our hook, and we're going to grab yarn, and we're going to slip stitch. Okay, and we are going to slip stitch like this for however many holes you have for, or however many stitches you have for your hole. So for me, again, I'm going to skip 6 stitches, and that was 1. Insert our hook into the next one. That's 2. We're basically going to slip stitch 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and start working back into the other side. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches left. So we're going to go ahead and find the 5th stitch on the opposite side. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to work into this one. So first, go ahead and put your hook through the first stitch on this side, and then find the 5th stitch on the opposite side, or however many stitches you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch, and we are going to slip stitch as we've done. Okay, and we are just going to go ahead and slip stitch until we get to the end of our work. Okay, I'm going to do my last slip stitch, and then we are going to chain 1, and then we can cut off. I'm going to chain another one just for my peace of mind. So I ended up chaining 2, but my second one is really tight. And now we're going to just go ahead and use our scissors and cut a tiny tail of yarn. And then pull it through. Okay, and then here is our work. And now all we have to do to finish off is we are going to go ahead and grab our sewing needle or your darning needle, and we are going to go ahead and sew these two things, these two little strands of yarn in. So you're just going to go ahead and insert your yarn into your darning needle, and you can sew this in however you'd like. I am just going to go back and forth through these side stitches. And then when I feel it is stitched in enough, I am just going to cut off. Okay, I'm going to do this a couple of times. Make sure not to accidentally sew the hole shut. And again, when you feel like it is fastened in enough, you can go ahead and just snip off the excess yarn. And I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Okay, everything is sewn in, and now you can go ahead and finally flip your work inside out. And there you have your sleeveless glove. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you want any future tutorials, go ahead and let me know in the comments. And if you have any suggestions, go ahead and let me know those as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!